What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Universal Veteran here again with another video. And today we're going to talk about some things that I want to do with my life, what plans I have in the future, and what goals I've set up for myself, and how I see my life with Sonia and Andrew and everything. Um, I did that 100 question Q&A a few days ago, but that really didn't go into depth of what I want to accomplish with my life. In all honesty, guys, I miss being over the road. I really do. I miss seeing the different states, and I miss seeing the country, and I miss seeing the world. I mean, well, not the world, but the United States. I like driving. I mean, I did and I did. It's a love-hate relationship when it comes to truck driving. Um, I don't like driving the miles, but I like seeing the states. If that makes sense. But it was nice. It really was. Seeing different things, going to different places all the time, and not being stuck with the same repetitive task every single day. And I would like to go over the road again. I'd really like to be an over the road truck driver again with a decent company that pays me really good money. But realistically speaking, that's not going to happen. Um, my son's getting to the point of where he's developing more of a bond with me, and he needs me to be there for him all the time. And it hurts me every time I leave for work because I know he cries because he misses me. He wants to see his daddy. And I know I can't do that to him. I know I can't go over the road where I'm gone for 30 days out of the month because he's getting to this point in time. I mean, he'll be 3 next April, which it's July right now, so he still has a while before that. But he's starting to develop more memories and more bonds with people like myself and Sonia. He's starting to actually develop a relationship with me. And I don't want to destroy that just because I feel stuck at my house and I feel stuck in my life. It's not fair to him, and it's selfish of me to even do that. And I mean, I would like to go over the road, but I just can't do that. But I do say is I will probably stay local as long as it becomes relatively easy to do, meaning that I will stay local as long as it doesn't start hurting my paying the bills. And like if we're at the point of losing everything, then that's when I'd go over the road. But we're not at that point yet. I mean, yes, we get stuck where 90% of my paycheck goes into bills every week, but at the same time, we're not at a point yet to where if I don't go over the road, we're going to lose everything. So that would be the only situation that I would do it if it's under like the most dire circumstance. But as you all know, I live in Iowa, and I've been here a long time, a lot of part of my life. You probably don't know my story about where I grew up at, but for when I was born, I'll just go into depth with everything. When I was born, we lived here in Iowa, and my mom, I never met my dad. I didn't meet my dad until I was 17 years old. Um, my dad pretty much slept with my mom and left. He didn't care. He was on drugs at that time, really meth addict. I mean, crack cocaine, with jail a lot, and he didn't want to have anything to do with his son. He was 17 years old at that time, and he didn't want to think about raising a kid, so he left. He dipped out of there, and I don't really remember much up until about 3 years old. But my mom, at that point in time when she had me, she was going to Job Corps, which is basically like alternative high school. It's like a college campus. You live there. Like what I went to the same Job Corps she did, and you basically go there. You get your high school diploma. You get your GED. You get a trade. Like my mom went for CNA, and she got her CNA's license there. She got a driver's license. She did all that, and she pretty much lived there. So when I was there, I would live there for like 2 or 3 months at a time, and I'd come home for maybe 4 or 5 days. But it was pretty much my home at Job Corps. Um, she went the same exact Job Corps, and she met my sisters, which I have two sisters. They're twin sisters, and they just turned 18 um, in March. Yeah, March 7th is their birthdays. And they just turned 18, and she met my sister's dad, which is Devin. And I was pretty much with Devin for, he was a part of my life up until I was like 7 or 8 years old. I mean, I used to call the man dad because My mom never told me who my dad was. I always, when I started knowing what was going on in the world, he was the only father figure that was there. So I automatically assumed that he was my father at that period of time. I didn't know until I was like 9 or 10 years old when my mom came up to me and told me. But we stayed with Devin for a while, and my sisters were born, and they were together for a good 3 or 4 years. My sisters were 4 years old at the time, and the story my mom gives me, the reason why she left Devon was because we lived up in Washington with my grandparents at that period of time. We lived up there and we stayed with them when we moved a lot when I was younger. I never stayed in one school for longer than 6 months. But we lived up with my grandparents at that point in time, and she had to go to work. Devin, he didn't have a job. He was going to college or something. I'm not entirely sure what was going on at that period of time, but he was playing video games like I am now, and he left my sisters alone while my mom came home from work, and my sisters had all the cleaning supplies, bleach, vinegar, everything out, and they were playing with them. And that's when my mom said, "No, that's it. I'm done. I'm done being with you," and she left. And that's about the gist of everything that I know of Devin, of what happened with that. After she left Devon, like I said, we moved around a lot. We moved between grandparents to my my mom's parents to my aunts and uncles' houses to friends' houses. We were never really stable most of the time growing up, and I had a really hard time making friends at school because of how often we were um, moving all the time. Well, around after Devon, my mom met Rod, which Rod, they stayed together up until I was like 12 years old. He lived here in Iowa. Like I said, we keep moving back. We moved from like Iowa to Florida to Washington State, all three of those states back and back and back, back, all growing up, just continuously going back and forth. Um, but we were finally back in Iowa at this period of time, and my mom's with Rod, and he was a severe alcoholic, really, really, really bad. He drank every single night, and he still does. The man's still alive, surprisingly, but he drank every single fucking night. Every time he get off work, get plastered drunk, and he would beat the shit out of my mom every night. Every single night, he would whoop my mom, strangle her, fucking choke her, beat her to where she ended up in the hospital. And my mom, at that point in time, didn't know what to do because we exhausted all our possibilities of where we were going to live. And she didn't want to be a single mom out on the streets with 3 kids. And he was a really good guy who, oh, well, not really good guy, but he had a really good job making $70,000 to $80,000 a year. And for me, I recognized what was happening in her life, but I didn't understand the full depth of what was going on because I was still young at that period of time. I didn't really know what was going on, why Rod was doing this to my mom. I mean, mentally, it damaged me because of staying up at night, laying in the dark room in my bed, listening to my mom screaming in agony because he was beating the shit out of my mom. I mean, it hurt me. It did. It left a scar on my life. And it started to affect me in school, it started to affect the way I was making friends, my studies, my homework, shit like that. I mean, it really affected how I dealt with my life or in school. And I never really had any friends when I was growing up. It was very difficult for me to make friends, and all the bullies in the school, they would just tear me apart. I mean, it was call me a gay boy, faggot, fucking homo. You're a douchebag. Nobody loves you. Nobody cares about you. You're worthless. You're a piece of shit. And that, in all honesty, it really didn't affect me that much because I was so used to Rod doing that to my mom and hearing that all the time that I just put up a mental barrier in my life to where I didn't care what they said. I mean, I still don't now. Nowadays, I don't give a fuck what anybody says about me. I mean, it just goes in one ear out the other. So during school, I mean, yes, in a way, I was sad that I didn't have any friends, but I had a few friends that I considered close, and they were in the town that we lived in. We used to go hang out all the time, and fucking pull pranks and do stupid shit. But for a good long while, I didn't really do much until one day when I was like 12 years old, just about to start middle school. Um, Something like that. I don't fucking remember the age. That's so long ago. I don't really remember what my ages were at that period of time. I'm just compensating for the time frames. But we ended up. My mom found out that Rod was cheating on her with some other woman, and that's when my mom said, "Nope, I'm done. Fuck this. I'm done." And my mom made a decision that we were going to move down to Florida and go live with my grandmother. And that's what we did. We moved down to Florida with my grandmother, and we stayed there for 4 years. We lived with my grandmother for 4 years, probably for about 6 months. We had our own place, but we eventually moved back with my grandmother. And I don't, there's not a lot of memories I have of Florida because everything was kind of a blur. But there's a few memories that I have. My biggest was around that time when we moved down to Florida. It was like a culture shock to me. I mean, imagine a small town fucking hick boy of a population of 90 people in one town going to a school, a middle school, mind you, a middle school that had 3,000 students in it. It was a severe fucking culture shock. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck did I get into? And it wasn't too hard to make friends in Florida because there were so many people that I could make friends with. I didn't have to focus on one person. I don't know if you heard that, but it was it wasn't too bad. It was somewhat easy. I mean, I really got into RuneScape when I was like 13 years old. I would steal my mom's computer and I played this game all the fucking time. That's one of the memories that I remember is playing RuneScape all the time. Um, that's what else? Swimming. That's when I really started to love swimming because my grandmother had a pool in her house at that point in time, and she had like a $400,000 house. I mean, it had like 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, and a big ass pool in the back. And we'd go swim every fucking day. I mean, it was. I enjoyed Florida, and that's what I'm getting to. Um, I'll eventually get to that, but we stayed in Florida for 4 years. Then we moved up to Washington State. We stayed with my grandparents for a while, and things got hectic down there because my grandparents up there were heavy into meth and cocaine, and we only stayed there for about a year. And then we ultimately left there, and then we moved back to Iowa, and we've been in Iowa ever since. Ever since I was probably about 16 years old. We've been 15 years old. We've been in Iowa since then, and I'm 23 now. Almost 24 in October, and we've been here pretty much since. I lived in Florida, where we moved from Washington to Iowa. We lived with my mom's friend. Then my mom got serious about her life and got like 2 jobs to support us. We got a nice place. We moved to a small town right next to the old town that we lived with Rod in, like 10 miles away. And my mom got an apartment. My mom met her now husband, and they've been together for 8 years now. 6 years, sorry, 6 years. They've been married for 6 years. And my mom now we're in a good place now, somewhat. I went to Job Corps. I stayed there for a year and a half. My mom was with her husband, with my sisters. They got a nice place together. Moved a couple times, but now they're at the current location that they are now. Um, and I went to Job Corps, got my high school diploma, got my driver's license, completed my trade. After Job Corps, I came back home for a month, and then I joined the military. I was in the Army for a year and 6 months. That's a whole new story in on itself. But I was in the Army for a year and 6 months, and then I moved, got out of the Army, went back to my mom's house, stayed there for about 8 months. And then Sonia came down. Sonia and me got a place together, an apartment. Found out she was pregnant, as you guys have seen in my old videos. You guys seen it. I've had this YouTube channel up for now 3 years this year. But then we got an apartment. I went over the road. Life's going good. Moved here to another town about 30 minutes away from where we used to live. Now have a house that we pay a rent on, but house nevertheless. And now I have a local job. And where I want to be in the next few years, 5 years preferably. I'm tired of being stuck, guys. I really am. I'm tired of being stuck. I'm in a stuck position right now because I can't go over the road because Andrew. And Sonia said she would leave me if I went over the road, or probably cheat on me again, either or. Um, I don't want. I can't do that. Sonia is fucking stubborn and takes her sweet ass time to get things done, and she wants to become a nurse practitioner in the medical field, but she has yet to even get her GED, and she's taking her sweet fucking time with it. Don't know when that's ever going to be complete. Whenever she's going to do that, she wants to become a nurse practitioner. And ultimately, I'm going to move back to Florida, and I'm going to stay there for the remaining of my life. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to raise my family. That's where I want to live the rest of my life in. I absolutely love Florida. Florida is my fucking paradise. It's the place that I love it. I want to be there again. And I want to move to Florida. The first thing I want to do is I want to buy a mobile home for like $5,000, stuff like that. Renovate the place, stay in there for a while, save money up from working and Sonia working too. Then eventually what I want to do is I want to get into real estate. I don't want to open up a business. I don't want to do that. I want to get into manufactured homes. I want to start buying rental or buying mobile homes, manufactured homes, and I want to make a business of real estate, become a landlord. My goal before I'm 40 years old, I want to at least have 25 properties under my belt that I am the landlord of, that I own, and that's what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do that. That's way in the future, but that's my goal by the time I'm 40 years old. I want to be successful, and I don't want to be stuck like I am now. I mean, granted, I'm only 24 years old, but I'm still young, so I still got a lot of time to think about this shit. But that's what I want to do. I want to get mobile homes. I want to get manufactured homes. I want to start with one. I want to move down to Florida, live in that manufactured home. Then I want to buy another one, rent that one out. Then maybe buy a third one, fix it up, rent that one out. Then save the money up from those two while Sonia's working and while I'm working. And then maybe buy a house. And then after buy the house, maybe go into getting the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and eventually have charging $600 in rent for 10 properties, making $6,000 a month on top of my fucking $3,000 a month job, on top of Sonia's $5,000 a month job, which making what, like $18,000 a month, almost fucking $300,000 a year, and then just expand. Just keep buying, and eventually get to the point where we're making $50,000 a month in rent alone. And then that's where I would feel like I'm actually successful. And I would never need to work again. I would never need to worry about driving a truck, which more likely I'm going to keep doing this regardless. Even if I make $500,000 a year or $1 million a year, I'm still going to be doing this shit regardless. That's what I love driving. I love driving a truck, and I will do this even if I'm a millionaire, guys. I don't care. I don't care if I'm making $1 million in revenue every month, even if I have 500 properties. I don't care. I will still be driving a semi just for the sheer fun of it. I mean, I may stop for a while, but I'm still going to be driving a truck. I will buy my own truck and I will drive it. But we're almost at 20 minutes of this video. Hope you like to hear me talk about nonsense, and more likely no one's really going to watch this video all the way through. So besides, if I die, unless I die, and Andrew, you're watching, this is my life. This is what I want to do at 23 years old, July 9th at 1:42 p.m. This is my thoughts, and this is how where I'm projecting myself out. So hope you enjoyed watching my video. But I'm going to end it here, guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like, as always, down below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. I'm going to continue doing RuneScape. But peace out as always, guys. Have a nice night.